Hello! This is going to be a short video explaining the rules of our new Pokemon Black 2, White 2 randomized roguelike wheel lock. It's something that Jack and I came up with over this past weekend after multiple failed attempts of our regular Nuzlocke, and we wanted to bring something into it that made it a little more interesting, exciting.
And new.
And new. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen anybody do this. So, Jack, if you want to go ahead and give us just the standard Nuzlocke rules.
Yeah. Sure. So, obviously in Nuzlocke, if a Pokemon faints, it's considered dead and unusable, unless it locks the player out of progressing the game due to it being the only Pokemon they have that can know an HM. In that case, it can be used to surf, rock climb, strength, etc., and only for that. Only the first Pokemon encountered on a route can be caught. If it flees or is knocked out, no other Pokemon on that route can be caught. Each Pokemon caught must be nicknamed in order to be used. If we forget to nickname it, we have to wait until we get to the name raider. All wild encounters, trainer battles, static encounters, and items on the ground are randomized. Oh, we have some special rules where fully evolved Pokemon will reach their max evolution at level 40. There will be no trade evolutions or evolve requirements.
Yeah. And so some of the special roguelike wheel lock rules that we added to this are if you black out, you reset your lock to the starter selection. So we're going to save at right before we pick our starters. But you are no longer held to the lock rules until you catch up to the other player's most recent story event. So like, say they just beat the gym in Burbank and you had to reset before that. Once you catch up to the gym in Burbank and they still haven't progressed any further than that, then you're considered caught up and you are then bound by the rules of the Nuzlocke. You can still only catch one per route, but you can pick any one that you... Beating a gym gives you an additional encounter on the next route. After beating a gym, the person who is behind gets their encounter and gets to spin the wheel, which we'll get to that in a second. And if a Pokemon is knocked out, the person spins the Wheel of Woe, which we'll also get into. So yeah, Jack, if you want to tell people what the Wheel of Wheel is.
Yeah, so the Wheel of Wheel is the Wheel of Prosperity in a way. So the person that lags behind, the first person that's already restarted once, as soon as they beat their next gym, they get to spin the wheel, which is 50-50 on good for them and bad for your opponent. So our higher chance one is the first or second Pokemon you encounter on the next route can be caught. The middling one is you can re-encounter a Pokemon anywhere from previous routes. Say you saw one that you didn't catch on a previous route, and now realize it's good for your team. You can go back and catch that. And then the really rare one for the good side is you get to revive one of your fallen Pokemon. On the bad side, we have you can force your opponent to train and use their lowest level Mon in the next gym. Next, you can't use held items in the next gym.
We swapped that out.
We did.
Remember, it's run back to mom.
Oh, yes. Indeed. So, we changed that one to run back to mom. So, you can force your opponent to run back and talk to your mom at the beginning of the game. So, say they're up at the Elite Four and they run back, that could be an hour's walk. And they have to walk. They can use their bike, but they cannot use fly to fast travel.
Yep. Unless it's like you Castelia City
would lock you out of it. Yeah.
Yeah, Castelia City is a boat that goes from Castelia to Burbank. You can fly from Castelia to Burbank, but you have to use connecting routes and run as much as possible.
Okay. And then the rare one is you get to choose one of the opponent's Mon in their team to just knock out.
That's going to be rough.
That will be. All right. And then the Wheel of Woe, Roscoe.
Yeah. So let me open that up so that people can see that. I had opened up the Wheel of Wheel. So for the
Perfect.
Wheel of Woe, we have the... they're all kind of set into their own weightings as well, kind of like the last ones.
Mm-hmm.
So the two worst ones are the Pokemon is KO'd, and you can't use any heals for the rest of the battle. And this only happens when a Pokemon on your team gets knocked out, right?
Yes. Yes.
And then you have the other bad one is you have to KO an additional Pokemon on your team. So that one could be really rough if you land on that. The kind of mid-tier bad ones are you can revive the Pokemon that got knocked out, but you cannot heal that Pokemon past what they are. So they are considered revived at 1. So like if you're in the middle of a fight or an area that you can't get out of, they're stuck at 1 HP for the rest of that battle, right? The most frequent one is just going to be the Pokemon is KO'd, because that's your typical Nuzlocke rules. If they're knocked out, they're knocked out. They're done. And then the last one of the mid is the team spot has to remain empty. So let's say that we have had 3 encounters and somebody gets knocked out and you land on that one. You now can only use 2 Pokemon until you beat the next gym. So the team spot remains empty until you beat the next gym. And then for the kind of good, we have the Pokemon is KO'd, but you can re-encounter from the last route that you were on. We have Revive, but you have to sacrifice somebody else. You have to sacrifice another Mon. So like, let's say you have like a Weedle in the PC, you know, but your Rhyperior just got knocked out. You can sack the Weedle and get the Rhyperior back. And then just regular revive the Pokemon. Nothing happened. You just got to bring him back. And then at the very last one, we have kind of a special one. It's called the Retry Token. And what that allows you to do is if a Pokemon gets knocked out and you land on Retry Token, you get to pretty much restart that encounter, if you so choose, with that trainer that knocked you out. So that way you can be like, all right, well, they led with this Pokemon. They have these Pokemon. I've seen them. I know what to bring into this. I can fight them, right? So yeah, those are the rules.
We also have the special exception. That's kind of just an honor rule of if you get to choose an opponent's Pokemon to knock out, we will not choose any shiny Pokemon.
Yes, if we happen to chance into a shiny Pokemon, that Pokemon is immune from the other players' KO.
Meddlings.
Yes. So yeah, those are the rules. Okay. We're going to start getting some videos out here with all of these. Hopefully this has kind of explained what we're going for. We'll probably touch up on the rules again in the videos moving forward, but yeah, we're excited to do this, and we will catch you guys in the videos.
Okay. See ya.
See ya.